I'm Marcelo with Devir Games, and welcome to our 2020 ASTRA Marketplace virtual booth. Behind me is how our booth would have been set up at the ASTRA Marketplace, and while we would love to have been face-to-face with you this year in Orlando, we're unable to do that, but we did not want you to miss out on the trade show experience. So that's what we're here to show you today. So we're going to begin with our best sellers. Our best seller far and away is The Color Monster. This is the game based on the children's book by Ana Llenas. And in this one, what we are doing is a cooperative game for the whole family. What we're doing is we are going to be moving the Color Monster around the board. He's awakened as a whole jumble of mixed emotions, and what we are trying to do is to help him sort out those individual emotions. In doing that, we also need to find out which jar in the cupboard they need to go into. Each is specifically marked on its backside. So there's a memory aspect to the game. But the way that we do that, as we move the Color Monster onto each of the emotions, we're going to take the emotion token and we're going to share with the group something that happens to make us feel that particular emotion. In this particular case here, the Color Monster is on red, which represents anger. If it were any player's turn, they would then take a token and then they would share something that makes them feel angry. And then, once they've shared that with the group, then we go ahead and we choose which of the jars it would go into. If we get his 5 emotions sorted into the 5 jars that they belong in, then we win the game. Any age group can play this. Pretty much any child that can verbalize is able to or have a way to communicate somehow their emotions can play this particular game. So this is our best seller far and away. This retails for $30. Our next 2 best sellers are the 2-player games, Holmes, Sherlock, and Mycroft. In this one, it's not a game about solving cases, it is a game about collecting clues. So 2 players are going to be playing through 7 rounds or 7 days in which they are taking their actions based on the help of the supporting characters from the Sherlock Holmes stories. Whoever at the end has selected the most points in the individual clues that come out throughout the game wins the game. Our next one is Paris, City of Lights. So in Paris, this is set during the World's Fair in the late 1800s. And what we're doing is we are building the city grid for the electric light, strategically placing places where we're going to be able to put our own buildings around where the street lamps are going to be. The goal of the game is to score the most points based on how many street lamps illuminate the buildings that you control. It plays in about 20 minutes, and the series of actions that you can take by which to do that, it changes every game, so it's ultimately replayable. Both of the 2-player games are $25 and are available now. For a more than 2-player experience, we have Silk. So Silk has got the science fiction theme, Studio Ghibli style artwork where we are playing shepherds of silkworms, trying to position them onto the grass that they're going to graze and get the most benefit from, and then in order to produce the silk. In this particular game, it's a lot of push and shove, a lot of interaction with the other players in the game. When the ground can no longer be grazed on, then we total up the points to see who wins the game. This one is $35 and also available now. Now, our 2 newest releases. The first is Razzia. So the rats have taken over the pantry and they are stacking up on top of each other to get to the food that's at the highest levels of the pantry. This is a dice game, in which case we're going to roll our dice and then we're going to put them into specific spots on the board in order to basically create that little ladder of rats that are trying to get to the top in order to capture the sausages, which are the points. The first player to get 25 points wins the game. This one is $35. You can play up to 5 players. Most of our games all play about ages 8 and up as well. Our next one is Cara Cara. So this one is sort of a style of like Cacao. In which case we are building the island that we're going to put our settlements on. The theme of the game is the exploration and the settlement of New Zealand by Polynesian tribes. The tribes themselves are represented, artistically represented by indigenous endangered birds from New Zealand. So, and again, in this one we're going to be playing through 3 eras of the exploration and settlement, building the island itself, placing our settlements on there, reaping the harvests from our crops, in order to score the most points at the end of the 3rd round. Then whoever who has the most points wins the game. This one is also $35. Now, it wouldn't be a trade show if we didn't have something new to show you. So we have 2 new games coming out. The first one is coming in September, is Out of This World. This is a card game, a cooperative card game, so we're all playing together. The theme is set in the 90s. It's all of the neon that's on there, but I think Stranger Things or Scooby-Doo, Meddling Kids kind of a theme. We are all playing our own individual characters who are working together to stop super-dimensional threats from coming into our world and taking over. Each player then picks their own character at the start of the game, and then we are going to be basically running around town, gathering clues and information and items that are going to help us to stop those supernatural threats. Now, one of the cool things about the game is that it plays in several chapters. So you can play each game as a different chapter of an overall story that is being told, but it's not like other legacy games where you can no longer play the game once you've completed the story. There is a mode of the game where you can continue playing regardless of the story in what's called Neighborhood Patrol mode, against monsters and still trying to collect all the things you need to stop those extra dimensional threats from coming in. This is going to retail for $25, and it comes in case counts of 6 and will be arriving in September. Our next game is coming in October, and I apologize that I don't have a box mock-up of this one. This is The Red Cathedral, and I have this information available to send to you in the sell sheet so you have a recap of what I've been going over. In The Red Cathedral, we are playing architects that are responsible for building St. Basil's Cathedral during the reign of Ivan the Terrible. We are using our influence with the clergy and with the guilds in order to build our part of the cathedral. Once the cathedral is built, then we total up our prestige points for building our part of it in order to gain favor with the Tsar. Whoever has the most points of prestige at the end of the game wins. This is going to retail for $35. Comes in the same box size as like Karakara and Razzia. Case count of 6, and that will be available in October. Now, one of the main benefits of a direct relationship with Devir happens to be access to our back catalog all year round. The back catalog has family games, children's games, and even hobby gamer games. One of our more steady sellers is Lavinia. In this particular game, it is a set collecting game. We're out in the vineyards, and we're collecting different types of grapes to get them to the market to sell to the vendors who are going to make the wine. So that's Lavinia. We also have, in the children's games, we got 1, 2, 3 and Fast Food Frenzy. In the more casual gamer games, we got Lavinia and Papua. And then the more hobby gamer-themed games would be like Dungeon Raiders, Checkpoint Charlie, Michael Strogoff, and so forth. So as a benefit of a direct relationship with Devir Games, we invite you to join our Deviriano VIP Retailer Program, which has all kinds of benefits for bringing our games to the consumers who play games. First is that, again, you have access to the complete catalog all year round. The second is that you have a static 50% wholesale discount, no strings attached. The next is that you have no minimum order. You can mix and match titles. One of the biggest benefits of being a Deviriano VIP retailer is that you get free shipping all the time. We'll also make sure that we send you demo copies of any game that you bring in for the first time. But we also offer you access to our web portal, which gives you B2B access to the website, which allows you to do 2 things. The first is that you will be able to actually place the orders on your own for your store, or you can even actually utilize our warehouse to drop ship your orders of our products to your online customers. We have a retail store locator on our website, which only features Deviriano VIP retail stores. And when it comes to the new product, Deviriano VIP retailers will always have their pre-orders of the new games ship out 1 week before we ship the game to our distributor partners, which gives you the time advantage of having the games in your store before the general release. Now, this wouldn't be a trade show if we didn't have a show special for you. So, from now to the end of June, just for watching this video and participating, you get an extra 10% off any order placed by the end of June for our products. If you have any questions about that, or would like to contact me for more information regarding our Deviriano VIP Retailer Program, please go ahead and send me an email at the email listed in the comments section of this video. Thank you very much for attending. Again, We apologize that we were not able to meet with you face-to-face in Orlando this year, but we very much look forward to seeing you again next year in Minneapolis.